All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Aaron Brissois. I'm the CEO of Golden Shovel Agency, and I'm excited to present today's webinar to you. This is about Golden Shovel's partnership with Site Selection Magazine and how you can immediately benefit. As you know, a Golden Shovel Agency partners with organizations that are leaders in the field across the industry to provide the best services possible, and Site Selection Magazine and Conway Data are no exception. We're thrilled to be working with them. And today's presentation is going to start with some information about Site Selection Magazine, shared by the CEO and editor-in-chief of the publication over there. And then after that, we'll talk a little bit about the partnership, what that means for Golden Shovel's clients. And then lastly, we'll do a little demo so you can actually see how to go about accessing the new opportunity here. So first of all, let's learn a little bit about Site Selection Magazine. I'd like to introduce Adam Jones-Kelly and Mark Arndt. Adam Jones-Kelly is president of Conway Incorporated. He's worked with the firm for 17 years, and prior to becoming president of Conway, he managed the award-winning international publication Site Selection Magazine. He's had broad experience in publishing and event management, and has been a featured panelist at events around the world. Adam has consulted for hundreds of government economic development agencies on 6 continents, helping them position themselves to attract domestic and foreign corporate investment and create jobs. Adam is an accomplished writer, having produced original content for Site Selection Magazine, On-Site Travel, and the FDI Report. Grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and Auckland, New Zealand. He's married to a renowned photographer, Sue Jones-Kelly, and the two reside in Peachtree Corners, a suburb of Atlanta, where they're raising a pair of rambunctious kittens. Adam is an avid adventure sports enthusiast who regularly tries to get himself killed during ill-conceived escapades. So thank you, Adam. A pleasure to have you with us. And
thanks very much. We're certainly excited to work with you.
Excellent. I'd like to also introduce Mark. Mark Arndt is the editor-in-chief of Site Selection Magazine. He's a leading U.S.-based economic development and corporate real estate publication. He also edits 4 online newsletters: the Site Selection Energy Report, the Site Selection Life Sciences Report, Site Selection Aerospace Report, and Site Selection International. Mark has been editor-in-chief since 2001. Prior to joining the editorial staff in '97, Mark worked for 10 years in New York City at Wall Street Computer Review, ABA Banking Journal, and Global Investment Technology. Site Selection, he leads a team of journalists who have won dozens of awards in recent years for excellence in print and online editorial and design. Under his leadership, Site Selection has become a leading authority on airport-related economic development and producer of investment profiles of areas throughout the world. Mark graduated from the University of Hartford in '85 and lives near Atlanta, Georgia. Adam, Mark, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks very much, Aaron. We're certainly excited about the partnership with Golden Shovel.
Thank you, Aaron.
Great, and then let's thank you. Let's pass it over to you guys.
Well, this is Adam. I'll go first, and then I'll give a bit of background on the publication, and then let Mark talk a bit more about the editorial. I don't know how many people on this call might already be familiar with Site Selection. I'm hoping everybody. But just in case that's not the case, let me go through it. Site Selection has been published for 61 years. It'll be 62 years in January. It's the oldest and most respected publication in the economic development and corporate real estate industry. As you heard in Mark's bio, Site Selection has run more awards for editorial excellence and design than all other publications in the industry design. Site Selection is a business-to-business pub, so it's a controlled circulation. In order to receive the publication, you must be a qualified corporate executive with decision-making authority on your company's expansion plans. We are an audited publication, audited by BPA twice a year, so they go through our entire circulation just to verify that it is, in fact, C-suite executives in a decision-making role that are receiving the publication. We are also the only publication in the world that I'm aware of that produces a report every month that tracks all of the new investment done, and this would be corporate expansion projects, done by our subscriber base. It's an average, I think, of 250 new projects a month. We're $15 to $20 billion a month, and I think it creates something like 20,000 new jobs a month. So it's a very, very senior audience. We keep them engaged with remarkable editorial that Mark and his team produce. We get the highest level interviews, governors, presidents, prime ministers, CEOs. They're very candid with us about their expansion plans. If it's a politician, they're very candid with us about the incentives that they've rolled out to attract this investment. So I think you have the site selection presentation on the screen. I'll quickly scroll through it. This page will give you a little bit of background on the magazine and our mission, which I think I've just touched on, so I'll quickly skip past it. This gives some information on our readers. We do a poll every year of our readers, and they consistently rank us in importance to their job ahead of publications like the Wall Street Journal, Fortune, and Forbes. That's not to say that they think Site Selection is the best publication in the world. I mean, a lot of us read other publications like The Economist, but they rate Site Selection as the most important to helping them do their job. Site Selection, obviously, in the modern age, we're digital. We have a digital edition. We have an app. This is the survey that I just referenced that puts Site Selection ahead of Wall Street Journal, Forbes, Fortune, etc. This talks about the investment undertaken by our subscribers, which I had just touched on. We have it broken down by region of the world. If anybody's interested in the report, we can certainly provide it. It gives details on the companies where they went, how much they invested, how many jobs they created, and when we have the data, why they chose the location that they chose. You see the average over the last 3 years is $254 billion. This is some demographics on our readership broken down by industry. We also have detailed demographic information on the subscribers themselves, tells you how much money they earn, how high an education they have, what gender they are. Goes on to the next page, how old they are, what their job titles is, where they're located, etc. And then this is super valuable information to the people that associate with Site Selection is where they're going. Where are they most likely to put their next expansion project? This last page details some of the awards that we've won. If anybody's interested, we've got pages and pages and pages of these. We love sharing it, so certainly ask, and Mark can talk a bit more about it. And this page talks about Conway's global reach. In addition to the publications division, we have a global events division based out of London. We have a global consulting division based out of Berlin. And we have a PR and marketing division based out of New York. And we run the associations IAMC, which many of you will probably know, and the Global FDI Association. That's it for my bit. Mark, if you want to talk a bit about the editorial and how you guys select the topics and arrange for the interviews that you guys are able to get that I don't think anybody else in the industry is able to land.
Yeah, so what makes Site Selection publications out there? Probably the primary differentiator would be our the data that we collect throughout the year. That is the foundation of not only most of our editorial, but also the foundation of a number of awards and recognitions that we give out during the year. The data that I'm referring to is resident in our Conway Projects database. It is data about new and standard project announcements. To make it into that database, a project needs to involve at least $1 million in capital investment, or involve 20 or more new jobs, or 20,000 or more square feet of new construction. Obviously, most projects are much larger than those, but that's the minimum requirement set. These are private commercial investments, not public, and we gather that data. We have a team of research analysts who, in addition to the journalists that I work with, we gather that project data throughout the year, make sure that that data is clean by the time we use it for editorial and recognition purposes. And that's really the difference between what we do and other publications. Lots of publications like to recognize areas and cities and countries and so forth because of perhaps subjective reasons. Our recognitions are very objective. And for that reason, these awards and our editorial carry a lot more weight than that of other publications. So that's kind of an overview of what makes us different. What awards and recognitions am I talking about? Well, we have several. In March, we recognize the top states, metros, micropolitans, and industries. In May, we recognize the top competitive states. In November, we recognize top business climates. In May, we recognize global best to invest locations. Those would be the highlights. But again, those recognitions are all based on data that we collect throughout the year. So that's kind of a quick overview. I hope that's helpful.
Absolutely. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Mark. Let me pass the screen back over to myself. Okay. Well, thanks so much, and sharing a little bit about Conway data or Conway and Site Selection Magazine. We recognize you as the leaders in the industry as well, and that's why I'm excited to share today to our clients the Golden Shovel and Site Selection Magazine partnership that we're putting together. Let me tell you a little bit about that before we get into a little live demo. So first of all, what our partnership entails is that Site Selection Magazine is going to provide 5 articles every week that will be made available as website content. And this content is all going to be economic development focused, as you could imagine. It's current, it's relevant, it's got all of the insight and backing, as you just heard. And these articles are featured, not featured from Site Selection Magazine, but featured within our system, so that means that they will appear on your homepage. These articles come weekly, so that ends up being 20 available articles a month that our clients will be able to share. So, as you're aware, with our Economic Gateway system, we have the ability to centralize content and make it available to anybody that's connected to the software. So Site Selection Pub articles will be going into that system, and that's where they'll be available for any Economic Gateway websites that are connected and would be interested in sharing that. The beauty of it is that the Golden Shovel clients can then share that content on their website newsfeed. You'll be able to, how you go about that is you'll be able to preview the latest available articles each week through a Site Selection Magazine feed page that we've set up. I'll show that to you in a moment. You'll be able to go into your admin panel for your current website and choose articles that you would like to then share through your site, and they'll appear on your website as a part of your news feed and on your homepage without any additional work on your side. The SSM feed, we set up a special page for our clients where they can take a look at what articles are on each week. That's located at economicgateway.com/site-selection-magazine. So we'll be keeping this current, and this is a way for you to go preview which articles are available. Here's an example of one of the articles that came out on October 6th, Top Utilities of 2015. You can see it starts off, because the beginning of the article, it has some of it, and eventually we'll link back to Site Selection Magazine if one of your visitors or website visitors is interested in seeing the full story. If you have a utility that's inside your region or inside your area that might be one of the top utilities, this would certainly be valuable content for you to be able to share with your constituents and stakeholders. And as I mentioned, when you share the article, it'll show up on the website homepage. Here's an example of the York County Development Corporation. Excited to share this. This was won us a IEDC Economic Development Award. You can see that featured news, and that's where the Site Selection Magazine article would appear on your website. And so, from the Golden Shovel perspective, especially since we work with so many rural and regional groups where it's difficult to find local news, there isn't always an exciting news story to share every week. And this expands our options to make available content. So one is that local news, of course, that's happening in your region, the success stories, those are from local press releases, but they're very current. And we use the Economic Gateway, we put them in the admin system, and if you're a gatekeeper client, we of course can handle that for you. But that's one source. In rural communities, it isn't always plentiful. So our second service we've provided with, if you're a Gatekeeper client, you'll have the Golden Shovel created articles where they're somewhat editorialized and they're made in advance with tied to the goals, strategies, and keywords that we had set with your organization. So that's the second part of the article. And so now with the Site Selection Magazine articles being added as a third source of really relevant, high-quality information that can be shared, it brings yet a different perspective. Site Selection Magazine tends to come from a national focus, and that means that not every article that they're going to share is necessarily relevant for your website, but there are articles that are absolutely relevant for it. Perhaps it's an article about a specific target industry that you're focusing on. Perhaps it's an article about your particular region or a program. And when those come available, you'll now be able to share those directly through your site. And there's many, many benefits to having this partnership in place. One is you need to keep the websites current. And for rural communities, it's always been the hardest part, especially with small resources and small budgets. Trying to keep those websites current are absolutely critical. They're not just for your first impression. If a site selector comes to your website and sees that your news is out of date, then they start to wonder if other things on the site are out of date. And there's no reason to have to sacrifice that first impression. It's now very easy to keep the website current. They can see that the website's been engaged, and these site selection articles are a great addition to that. There's search engine optimization benefits just from having your site current and changing, at least on a weekly basis. But beyond that, behind the personal reasons for having the content on there, these are great articles that really inform local businesses. A lot of the strategies, especially in the rural and regional groups, are focused on business retention, and those businesses don't necessarily have the time to stay on top of all of the economic development news that might relate to them, especially in their communities. So this is a way to keep those businesses informed, as well as educate your stakeholders, whether it's your boards, other community stakeholders that are engaged with the economic development organization, so they can see, get access to some of this information that be relevant to them. And above all, show just your industry engagement. So you're not just talking about the local story down the street. You're not just sharing your editorial, but you're also showing your fingers on the pulse of national content, and from the highest quality source. So at this point, I'd like to do a small demonstration. I'm going to pass the screen over to Charity Goddard, and she'll be able to walk you through what this will look like. Are you ready, Charity?
I am ready. I'm just waiting to show my screen. Okay, hopefully that's showing up now. The first thing I want to point out is that this is an opt-in service. So you're not going to see any of this material in your own admin unless you tell us you want to see it. So that's something that you can do in your own time, but you do need to let us know, and we will send out information after this webinar, letting you know how to opt in if that's something you want to do. As Aaron showed in his presentation, we have a page set up, economicgateway.com/site-selection-magazine. And that's where you can go to view the full articles. So you can see right now we've got quite a few in here already. If you see one that looks interesting to you, you just go ahead and open it up, take a look through, see if you like the article. You'll also notice that there are some recommended articles at the side that may be a similar topic or similar category, something like that. So you can have a little bit of help finding the articles you like. Once you find an article that you want to share, you can go into your admin, and if you've opted in, then once you go into your news manager and click the Manage Sharing link, you will see a list of all the available articles from Site Selection Magazine. Some of you may already be using sharing between yourself and another site, in which case you may be familiar with this interface. If you aren't, it's quite simple. You basically just look through, find the article you wanted. So we like the look of that one. So you just check it off and click Save Changes. And basically that's all there is to it. You've now associated that article with your site. I'm just clearing the cache very quickly. And then if we go to Golden Shovel, because that's the site I'm editing, and refresh, that article is now eligible to show in the news. You can see it's right there. Obviously, your featured news on your homepage is based on dates So depending on the dates of the article you share, it may or may not be the one that shows up. If you have more recent local articles, those are still going to get the priority. But it is eligible to show up, and if you open that up, it's going to show within your site. So it's not going to take you over, it's not going to take your users to this page. It's going to show the article within your site. So it's quite simple functionality, fast and easy. That's always our goal for you. Did you have anything else I should cover, Aaron?
Nope, I think that was great. Thank you. And this was a quick demo. Any of our clients would like to see that again, we'll be able to cover that, whether inside, we'll have this recorded. So this webinar will be recorded. You can watch this again, as well as if you're a Gatekeeper client, you can talk to the Gatekeeper representative at your next meeting, be able to share some of that. Let me change it back to me. And we'll get to the end here. So as Charity had mentioned, this is a opt-in option. So we're not going to be forcing any articles on anybody's website. This is just purely additional content that you'll be able to choose from to share. So in order to opt in, you can feel free to just contact us by letting a Gatekeeper representative know at your regular meetings, or else just contacting us at support@goldenshovel.com, or any of the other team members over here at Golden Shovel. We will also be sending out, as Cherry had mentioned, additional information on how to get connected and to get access to these articles. And then also, if you're a Gatekeeper client, and during your weekly meetings, we'll be able to discuss the articles also and help pick and choose good choices for your website. So lastly, I'd like just to open it up for any questions. And before we just feel free to type your questions in over on the side panel if there's anything that you'd have right now. Adam, Mark, do you have anything else you'd like to add before we open it up for everyone else?
I don't, but we're certainly happy to take any questions.
Okay, sounds great. Well, one question came in. The question is, do you have to be a Gatekeeper client to qualify? And absolutely not. And one of the great things about this is that all clients that are connected to the Economic Gateway system will have access to this content. So as a Gatekeeper client, we do create content. We make the editorialized content, which is great support. However, the clients that do not have that service will at least have options to access any of this. So there's an additional 20 articles that they can choose, as well as any articles from locally that they might upload themselves. Another question was whether or not you have to be subscribed to the magazine first, or is it going to be automatically linked to the Golden Shovel account? You do not need to be a subscriber to the magazine in order to take advantage of this.
And let me, if I could jump on with that, actually, economic development agencies cannot be a qualified subscriber to the magazine. You must be a corporate executive to qualify. If you are an economic development agency, you can contact one of our sales reps and get a complimentary subscription. So it's distributed, and that has to be updated every 6 months. But for the qualified circulation that I mentioned earlier, which is audited, that goes just to corporate end users. So that's a great benefit of being a Golden Shovel client, is that you get access to these articles without being a subscriber.
Yeah, excellent, thanks. And I would highly recommend people to get copies of the Site Selection magazine if you haven't already. I know many of you are familiar with Site Selection magazine, and also would recommend considering their publication for any sort of advertising. And
yeah, I think that's a great idea.
That is a great idea. Yep, absolutely. So highly recommend that, and there'll be, if you would like more information regarding those opportunities, you can feel free to contact us and, of course, Site Selection magazine directly. Okay, let's see if there's some other questions. Thanks for this opportunity. That's not a question. So you're most welcome. All right, I don't see any other further questions right now. If there isn't any other, is there any other final feedback from you, Adam or Mark?
The only bit, and I know it's not included in the deal, but I think we should certainly make it available to you and your clients. We just today released our annual World's Most Competitive Cities report, which is a standalone publication in partnership with Moody's Analytics. Might be worth your making available those sections of that report that cover North America. It's broken down. Mark, was it 12 industry sectors?
I believe 11.
11. Okay, so it's broken down by industry sector and then by metropolitan region. In order to qualify, I think you had to have a population in the metro area of at least 500,000. But it's an intensely data-rich report, Aaron, and might be pretty valuable to some of your colleagues.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Yes, that does sound very interesting, and we'll see that we can get that, make it available to be shared. So, okay. Well, without further ado, once again, we do have a recording of this webinar, so if you'd like to, if you missed something or got in late or would like to see it again, we can make that available. We will be sending out communications to all of you on how to opt in. And beyond that, I just want to thank you, Adam, and thank you, Mark, for joining us today, and really looking forward to be partnered with you guys on this opportunity.
Thanks very much. We're looking forward to it.
All right, thanks.